Hello and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the astrological forecast for the final quarter of 2025. So get ready to mark your calendars because these last 4 months of this year are shaping up to be quite eventful. We're going to explore the major planetary movements, eclipses, and retrograde periods that will influence our collective and individual journeys. First of all, I can't believe we're heading into the last quarter of the year. Can you?
Oh, I can't. And it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it?
Yeah, lots of changes, lots of shifts, lots of fear, lots of anxiety, lots of hope, lots of things, everything, a whole mixed bag.
Right.
In terms of the global world. But September is supposed to open up with a very powerful energy that's going to set the tone for our autumn months. We have a significant transit happening right at the start of the month when Saturn retrogrades back into Pisces right around September 1st. So for those who felt a push to establish new boundaries or assert themselves earlier in the year, this transit offers a crucial second chance. Saturn and Pisces encourage us to delve into emotional clarity, reevaluate our spiritual practices, and truly understand what structures support our well-being. If you've been putting off self-care or creative pursuits, this is your cosmic nudge to prioritize them. Saturn will station direct on November 27th, so that gives us a good 3 months to work with this reflective energy. I always look at Saturn, Saturn is called the taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
He's also like a little drill sergeant. Whatever planet he's in, it just really emphasizes the qualities of that planet. So as much as the research is showing that this could be a positive retrograde, it's making me go, oh no, because Pisces is all about like, let's get to the root of our emotions. Let's deal with our shadow side. Let's focus on our dreams. Let's really get into Jungian archetypes, all that deep stuff. But Pisces is also the dreamy stuff, the creative stuff, the allowing yourself to really emotionally express yourself. So that is a positive thing.
And the idea of more emotional clarity or reevaluating spiritual practices and understanding, what's really helping us and what we might need to release seems like it's spot on with everything we've been talking about the last few months.
Yeah, it does. And I personally love the fall. It's my favorite season because it's all about kind of getting cozy and tucking in and maybe pulling out those colored pencils or pens or paints and being creative or decorating your journal or just something that just brings you back to yourself. And what better time to do that than when Saturn is going back through Pisces?
Right. And around September 2nd, Mercury steps into Virgo. And Mercury loves being in Virgo because it's a fantastic time for analytical work, attention to detail, practical communication. So for a lot of folks, your mind will be sharp, perfect for studying, organizing, tackling tasks that require precision. Just be aware and mindful of a tendency towards hypercriticism. So a little tact goes a long way. So those of us that tend to be a little blunt and fiery might want to tuck that in our pocket for later.
Yeah, and then around September 6th, Uranus joins the retrograde party. Uranus, the planet of innovation and disruption, will be moving backwards, which means it's time to review rather than make drastic changes. So instead of tearing things down, consider what needs reevaluation in your life. This could also be a great period for reconnecting with old friends. So that's interesting, right? You've got Saturn going back through Pisces, you've got Mercury going into Virgo, and then Uranus retrograding. So it really does sound like September is a time to just kind of slow down, calm down, go within, and kind of clean house. Not literally, but metaphorically.
This goes along with some other things that I've heard, and where we know this much of astrology. We are not the deep dive astrology people. So some of you know, you could say, oh, but it's at 13 degrees of. God love you all. That's wonderful information. But It aligns very much with this pervasive feeling so many folks are having of, I just need to clean up this residual stuff. I need to release some things to make room for something new to come in. I want to feel more like myself and get more clarity about the decisions I'm making. And all of this seems to support that beautifully.
Yeah, it really does.
And but it's also going to all lead up to those big cosmic events in September of the two eclipses. So on September 7th, there's a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and lunar eclipses bring emotional revelations and culminations. You gotta love a good culmination. With this one in Pisces, expect heightened emotions and maybe some blurry boundaries. So trust your intuition, but also be sure to reinforce your personal limits, because this eclipse could test your faith in some way, calling for both groundedness and flexibility. It's a great time for completing creative projects and deepening your spiritual practices.
Okay, so hold on. We've got Saturn retrograding in Pisces, and we have our first eclipse in Pisces.
Yeah,
Ugh,
that's a lot of Pisces.
that's a lot of Pisces.
A lot of emotion, a lot of water.
I mean, I love Pisces. My dad was a Pisces. My
Yeah,
sister was a Pisces. I love Pisces. I'm just saying, from what I know of Pisces, they can be deep, deep thinkers
very much so.
and bring up some heavy stuff and have a hard time letting go of the past.
Right, and just saying.
Just saying.
Uh, but when it says that you could test your faith in some way, I think sometimes we read things or hear things like that, and for me, based on this past year's energy, I tend to go into my what's coming? What do I need to get ready for? And that's not what we're saying at all.
No. It's just lunar eclipses tend to be big. They tend to
Yes.
eclipse stuff out of your life that no longer serves you. But again, it's that thought of change. Now, with this September moon in the sensitive, intuitive, and compassionate, deep thinking Pisces, this eclipse will invite us to delve deep into our emotional landscape. As you know, Pisces is the sign of dreams, spirituality, empathy, and the subconscious. So this lunar eclipse will illuminate hidden emotional patterns, spiritual connections, and perhaps even subconscious fears or illusions that need to be released. Oh, great, Denise. So I have to deal with my actual fears and my subconscious fears. It's a powerful time for healing, letting go of what no longer serves our highest good, and tapping into our innate intuition. Be prepared for heightened emotions, vivid dreams, and a strong pull towards spiritual introspection. The corn moon or harvest moon traditionally signifies the abundance of the season, reminding us to be grateful for what we have and to release what no longer serves our growth. Much like harvesting crops, our growth leaves behind what is no longer needed. So this is going to be some deep stuff heading our way.
And it'll be interesting to see how it attunes the psychic connection, the spiritual connection, the strength of how we connect with the other side. Because all this Pisces energy, plus it's this focus on dreams, spirituality, empathy, the subconscious, that it's going to go off the rails with being connected.
Yeah, I agree. And I think knowing this is coming helps us because it helps us go into September with some mindfulness.
What's popping into my head is also, even if this isn't impacting you in this way, be conscientious of other people that it may be impacting this way that you interact with on a regular basis. Do you have a highly sensitive child? Do you have a partner that might need some extra support during this time? Do you have a friend that tends to really get emotional when there's a lot going on like this? So I think this is a beautiful opportunity to look out for each other as well.
Yes, I do too. And just like I said, being prepared and knowing that there's going to be some introspection going on, like this random example that's popping into my head. I recently moved my youngest daughter back into college. And as we're packing up the cars, I'm like, okay, I need to make room for my toolbox and my drills. And she was like, no, Mom, my whole room is furnished. I don't need anything. Just these lamps. There's nothing to put together. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to bring a hammer so we can, hang up your pictures. Okay. So we get there and there's the bed and a desk, but there's no end tables. There's nowhere for me to, uh, she needed a table and an end table.
Mm-hmm.
So we take our happy selves to IKEA, and she finds an end table she likes and this lovely little console table that she liked. And I'm like, okay, great. We go to buy it. And as we're walking down to the basement of IKEA, I'm thinking, son of a bitch, Samantha, this is IKEA. You're building 2 pieces of furniture with your day. And you left your drill 4 hours away. So we get back to her adorable little room. And I pulled out all the pieces. I took pictures of it because I was so proud of myself. And with an Allen wrench and a screwdriver, I built a console table with cabinet drawers and 2 shelves. And I didn't get frustrated or annoyed because I just said to myself, this is going to be 3 hours of annoyingness. And you're just going to get through it. And not only did I get through it, but I did it really well. And we had fun and we laughed about it. So I just think when you prepare yourself for those things, it's so much better than just going willy-nilly or saying like, oh, this sucks.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. And that's a fun memory for your daughter to have.
Oh, it's a super fun one for me too, Denise. I put the doors on backwards first. I put the bottom thing with like the cork showing, so I had to undo it all and flip it around. But I got it. And let me tell you, it is a beautiful piece of art now.
Yeah. Fine furniture. We're talking fine furniture
fine
here.
IKEA furniture.
So during this full moon, it would probably be a great time to do a cord cutting meditation with a person or a situation you've been working on releasing, or releasing things like, I forgot my tools, damn it, how am I going to do this? Some things we just can't change. If you don't have time for cord cutting meditation, is there an unhealthy emotional or energetic tie you wish to sever with a person, a habit, a past situation? Write it down on a piece of paper, burn it under the moonlight safely, and visualize that cord being cut. We talk a lot about cord cutting recently, and this is kind of connected, kind of not. I felt very lethargic and I felt very drained. And I asked Archangel Michael to come in, and I felt like I had these hundreds and hundreds of cords taken off of me, which if you don't, and that doesn't happen, but I almost felt like a little porcupine with all the cords.
Wow.
And I realized it had been an incredibly dense and heavy stretch of readings. So even if it was never intentional, and I was protecting, I was doing all the things you do, but I think this is an excellent thing to keep in mind of, if there's something you want to release, is there a cord you may not even be aware of that you can just say, okay, I've had enough of this now. Thank you.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of just spiritual self-care. And
Right.
I think we need to associate it with bathing and brushing our teeth. We have to do those periodic check-ins. That's a great visualization and experience you had. I just think we need those physical reminders of what we're doing because we're all so distracted and forgetful right now. And we forget that we're spiritual people. We forget that we have this team of helpers with us. But when we do something like writing it down or burning it under the moon, or putting a bowl of water out under the full moon to make ourselves moon water, when we do all of those things, that's reminding us of who we really are. I recently had dinner with a bunch of women who were all retired librarians. I was in my glory.
That's a lot of bandwidth there.
Yes. They were all so intelligent and smart and well-read, but they all said something that really stood with me. They all said, I just haven't been able to read lately.
Oh.
And I keep hearing that from friends and just random people I'll talk to. I did a lot of traveling this summer and I always had a book in my hand, and people would say, just random people, gosh, I haven't been able to get into a book in so long. And I just think that's very, very telling. We are super distracted right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to do these physical reminders, even if it's just lighting a candle or putting a crystal out or tucking one in our pocket, just to remind ourselves that we have a right and a duty to work on our sacred connection as much as we do have a need to work on our job and going through TikTok and whatever else is distracting us, you know?
And it sounds very, very strongly like these energies coming up in September are going to be very supportive of that, of releasing, of letting go, of ending a chapter, which I think many, many, many people are excited about.
Yeah. And you couple that with the end of our universal 9 year.
Right.
It's going to be big. You can also take advantage of this Pisces full moon by doing something creative. Since Pisces rules creativity, spend some time painting, writing poetry, playing music, or engaging in any artistic endeavor that will allow for emotional release and flow. Because then on September 21st, we experience a partial solar eclipse in Virgo. Solar eclipses signify new beginnings and shifts in direction. This Virgo eclipse offers a powerful opportunity for a clean break or a fresh start. If something ends around this time, trust that a new opportunity is emerging. Hold off on making immediate decisions. Give yourself a few days to gather all the facts. This eclipse is also going to be an excellent time for decluttering, organizing, and bringing order to your life.
Oh, that sounds wonderful.
Oh, yes.
Because that's another whole thing people are talking a lot about right now. I want to let go of it. I want to release it. I don't need these things. And this is perfect because then at the end, towards the end of the month, around the 22nd of September, Mars is going to sail right into Scorpio. And Mars, the planet of action and drive, is right at home in very intense Scorpio. And this transit brings willpower, sex appeal, undeniable intensity. But your ambition will be soaring, making this a powerful time to really go after your desires with passion and focus.
Well, all right.
So it seems like once we get through all of this, let this go, cut these cords, burn this paper, what am I releasing? Then all of a sudden it's like, whew, head up, let's take a breath of air here and get back on track and go for it.
Yes. Yes. With desire, passion, and focus. Sounds like the end of September is a good time for a date night, too.
Yes, it does.
Okay, I do have a confession about letting go.
Okay.
Okay, so when I moved, I got rid of most of my books, and it was painful, and it was the hardest part of moving. And I just kept donating them to the library for the library book sale, which we had a couple of weeks ago. And did I take my happy self there? Yes, I did. Do I need more books? No, I don't. Guess what I bought, Denise?
Your old books.
I did. I felt so sad seeing them there. One of them was a book my dad had given me, and I was like, what the hell was I thinking donating this? So I took the little friends back home. Not all of them, but a good
The
amount.
ones that needed to come home.
Yes. And then I get an email from the library, and they're like, congratulations, patrons. We had our biggest library book sale.
As you're slapping boxes of books back into the new house.
I know. So I guess I have to do some work in September on really letting go. All right, tell us about October.
Well, okay, but I think just to maybe let go of things that are not crystals or books.
There you go. That I can do.
Yes. So, but once we get to October, the cosmic energies are going to shift into a more introspective and transformative mode. So we'll kick off the month with Mercury entering Libra around October 3rd, which means communication becomes more balanced, objective, and fair, making it easier to see all sides of an issue. A great transit for negotiations, diplomatic conversations, and creative thinking. So this seems that, okay, you've cut the cords, you've worked through this, you've let things go, and now you're ready to maybe pick up an olive branch or revisit something or negotiate something new in your life with this new powerful energy you've brought in.
Yeah, that feels really, really positive. And then on October 6th, we have a full moon in Aries. Now, as we know, full moons bring things to a head, and in fiery Aries, expect big emotions and bold moves. So this is a perfect time for releasing what no longer serves your individual drive and passion. This full moon, called the Hunter Moon, will illuminate your personal drive, assertiveness, and sense of self. It's a powerful time for recognizing where you need to step up, claim your power, and perhaps even confront challenges head on. The Hunter's Moon name reflects a time for proactive gathering and preparation, much like Aries is about pioneering new paths. You might feel a surge of energy and a desire to launch new projects or assert your individuality. Be mindful of impulsiveness or a tendency towards confrontation, and instead channel this dynamic energy into constructive action. So that seems like if September is about releasing things that are blocking us or holding us back, it feels like this full moon is going to make us release personal issues, personal doubts and fears that are holding us back, and really call on the energy of that hunter's moon to be assertive and go out there and really say, it is my time and my turn.
Wow. And so timely after having done all this work for all these months through the emotions of Pisces, through the communication of Mars and Virgo, through all of these other aspects we've mentioned. And then here comes Aries. And Aries to me is go big or go home.
Oh, yeah. You don't mess with Aries energy.
No, I love Aries people.
I do too.
They're usually so brilliantly funny that I love them. I love their energy.
My little Chloe is an Aries.
And doesn't that fit perfectly for her?
It fits perfectly. I mean, she just gets an idea and goes for it and is just amazing and has no issues gently and respectfully confronting someone. It's a beautiful thing to witness.
And to finish, this will be in October, so that it seems like that's a great time for now I'm ready to move forward and finish out this year with strength.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things you might want to do on the night of this full moon is write down specific goals you want to initiate. And there are mixed things that people will say, oh, you have to do it before this time. You have to do it before that time. You do it, you do you is always my answer for that. But if you're very much in the depths of knowing more about astrology and oh, I have to do this before this time period, but try lighting a red candle to represent Aries fire and visualize yourself successfully achieving these goals with courage and determination. You could write down anything you want to release that's holding you back from being fully authentic and assertive, and safely burn that paper in a fireproof bowl, imagining the old patterns transforming into ash. And you're really good about bowl burning ceremonies.
Yeah, I find them very, very impactful, even if you don't think they are in the moment. Because I will have friends over and make them do a bowl burning, and I know they're like, oh, here goes Samantha. But then afterwards, they'll tell me, like, gosh, I really felt that.
Right.
Again, there's something powerful about putting tangible actions to what you're intending to do. So then around October 9th, Venus enters Virgo. And Venus in Virgo is less about grand romance and more about practical love and acts of service. So you might find yourself craving realness and routines in your relationship. Home-cooked meals and thoughtful gestures will go a long way during this time. That sounds lovely.
Oh, it does.
And then a major planetary shift occurs on October 18th as Jupiter moves into Cancer. Jupiter, the planet of expansion and growth, will reside in Cancer for about a year until June of 26. So this transit brings a focus on emotional healing, inner child nurturing, and a deepening of our sense of safety and belonging. It's a favorable period for family matters, home life, and expanding your inner circle. So you can expect to feel more supported and nurtured in your personal space. I love that.
I love that too, because people are aching for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So also in October, Mars continues its retrograde journey in Cancer throughout the month. So this can make motivation feel a little moody or internal, but it's also a time to revisit those old chapters and approach your desires with fresh eyes rather than trying to force the issue. Taking your time, don't push, and allow yourself to flow with this reflective energy. And around October 23rd, the sun's going to enter Scorpio, initiating the season of transformation, intuition, and truth-telling. This is a time to dive beneath the surface, exploring hidden aspects of yourself and your relationships. Secrets may spill and intense emotional rebirth is possible. Scorpio doesn't mess around.
No,
No.
no. Scorpio tells it like it is.
Yes.
But
Very,
Scorpio
very
loves
strong.
their secrets, so this might be a hard time for them.
I never thought about it that way. That's a good point.
Have you known Scorpios? They're super secretive.
My mother was a Scorpio.
Okay.
Very strong. Very strong,
Very
very
strong.
intuitive in a very different way. And I'm
Yes.
not making that a blanket statement for Scorpio. It's just that's the way it was with my mom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of good in October, a lot of tucking in, a lot of, really thinking about, do I really want this old goal and dream anymore? Do I want to start something new? Like all that rich, beautiful stuff that happens in the soil before everything grows and blossoms.
But an incredible opportunity for shift.
Yes. Yeah. And change.
Yes.
Now, November brings even more emphasis on introspection. Oh, good Lord. How much more can we look inside? And revision as it kicks off on the 5th with the full moon. And this will be a full moon in Taurus, which brings a grounding, sensual, and earthy energy. Taurus is associated with stability, security, material possessions, comfort, and our values. So this moon will help us see clearly what brings us true contentment and what we value in our lives. It's a time to appreciate the beauty around us, connect with our physical senses, and assess our relationship with abundance and security. The beaver moon or frost moon reflects a time of preparing for winter scarcity, reinforcing the Taurus themes of resourcefulness and building foundations. This moon encourages us to slow down, savor simple pleasures, and establish practical plans for our well-being. Ooh, isn't that how you think of winter anyway? Just slowing down, longer nights, and making good soups and stews.
That hibernation
Yeah.
of really, and that makes perfect sense with everything that you've been talking about, that we've been talking about, is after all of this, taking that time to really draw within it and make peace with it.
Yeah, exactly. And nurture ourselves and focus on our own inner well-being.
Right.
And then watch some Christmas movies on Hallmark because we've had a lot of introspection.
Or not, and be equally as happy. Because this is really going to be a great time to focus on your senses, which is nice for that time of the year and the holiday season. But you may want to take a salt bath or get a hot stone massage, cook a 3-course meal, and really savor the ritual and the process. So make a cup of tea
Not
within.
want to cook a 3-course meal.
No?
No, do you?
See, that would be the one I would pick.
Really?
Oh yeah. I even for myself, I will just make a nice meal. Yes.
I don't know what's happened. I've lost my cooking mojo. I don't want to cook anymore.
I've found more of, I'm finding the zen in cooking again, which is really nice because I've missed that.
Yeah.
Being conscious of the vegetables and the chopping and the saute, just more of the process of it. And that's been really helpful.
That's such a beautiful thing, especially when you can go from, I have to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh my God, I have to do this every day. Oh, I have to do this every day for the rest of my life. And then when you get out of that, and then you can come back to it with that attitude of gratitude, that's beautiful.
Right. And you've mentioned this one quite a few times about making a cup of tea with the intention and blessing it and stirring your milk or honey clockwise to lock in your intentions.
Yes. If you guys have been away from reading, like a lot of people have been, I cannot recommend a book enough by Dean Radin called Real Magic. Such a good book. I've underlined everything in that book. And he has an entire chapter on this, on because the book is all about doing like triple blind placebo studies to really show that all of this stuff, this metaphysical stuff we're talking about, actually does work. And one of the chapters is on how he had people, one group just made a cup of tea. And then another group made a cup of tea. But then a bunch of Buddhist monks came in and blessed the tea with their intentions. And then they had each group, no one knew. They just thought they were making tea and drinking tea. And then they had to report how they felt after. And the group who didn't know they were drinking the blessed tea that was stirred with intentions and prayers felt so much better after. Slept better. Everything was better than the group who just had like a normal cup of tea. Isn't that fascinating?
It is. I love that. And that reinforces that it's all energy.
It's all energy. It's all energy. It's all about your intention.
Wow.
Now, you'll probably need the massage or the great 3-course meal that Denise is going to cook for us. Because
not.
Right after this mood, we have our third Mercury retrograde of the year. This freaking Mercury retrograde, he always loves to pop in and go backwards right around the holidays. From November 9th to the 29th, Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius and Scorpio. So you can expect potential glitches in communication, travel delays, and a need for deep reflection. When Mercury is in Sagittarius, it can bring a review of our beliefs, philosophies, and long-distance plans. As it dips back into Scorpio, you might be revisiting intense conversations or uncovering hidden truths. This is a time to recheck things, listen more, and avoid making major decisions until Mercury goes direct. Mindful activities like meditation and self-care are highly recommended. Okay, now because Mercury is my ruler as a Gemini, I feel like Mercury retrograde affects Geminis and Virgos a little bit more than other people. So I'm always mindful of these retrogrades. And what I've noticed is it's nothing major. When Mercury goes retrograde, it's rarely a major thing. It's the minor, annoying shit that just derails your day. Do you know what I mean? Like you're starving and you go to open up a can of something so you can cook that meal and you can't open that can for the life of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or you've got to rush and print something out before you head to that meeting and your printer jams. That's Mercury retrograde for me. I do find it interesting. You know, we were talking on another show about how I traveled a lot this summer. When I was traveling during Mercury retrograde, there were a lot of snafus at the airport. Internet went down, missed connections. My oldest daughter was traveling, and Denise, she's flying a direct flight from New York back to her hometown. And the flight attendant goes, there's a small fire on the plane. We need everyone to leave. Please do not get your belongings down from the overhead bin. Your lives are more important. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? And my daughter's texting me like, what do I do? It was fine. They got a new plane. She got back on. She got home. But it's those types of little snafus that happen in Mercury retrogrades. And so what I have decided to do, aside from never traveling again during a Mercury retrograde, if I can help it, is looking at that 3-week time as a time to really go gentle with my calendar. You know, like don't fill it up with a ton of recordings, a ton of readings, a ton of workshops, a ton of writing, to just go gentle with myself. And as much as I can, I mean, you know, everyone, we still have to work, but just not adding in all the extras and just trying to be very conscious about my energy throughout the days and to look at it as a time to, you know, just take those little breaks when you can. It's been very, very helpful for me is what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way.
No, but that makes perfect sense because it is those little glitches that make everything else seem so much more extreme and
Yeah.
harder to navigate.
Those just annoying little things, you know?
Right. And we all know the big, don't sign contracts, don't buy big electrical equipment, don't do this, don't do that. But I agree with you 100%. It's the smaller stuff that gets in the way that is frustrating and time consuming and annoying. There's no other word for it. But when you look at it from the perspective that you're saying of just kind of throw it into neutral, you know it's going to pass. It's a great time for heightened intuitiveness, so that's important. But if you do have the option of lightening your calendar, that's a beautiful, beautiful suggestion.
Although I love the tip that an astrologer gave us years ago on this show that if you were born during a Mercury retrograde, then Mercury retrogrades won't affect you as much.
Right.
I think that's so cool to know.
Oh, it's important information.
Yeah. If you're born in 1980, just Google Mercury retrograde dates in 1980 and see if your birthday falls in there.
Yeah. It's going to have a different impact.
Right.
Could be a time of really good luck and
Yeah.
synchronicities. So around November 7th, Uranus retrogrades back into Taurus. Uranus has been in Gemini since July and bringing changes in learning and communication. So this little dip back into Taurus gives us a chance to revisit and solidify any shifts related to our values, finances, the material world that were initiated earlier in the year. It's also a chance to reground ourselves before Uranus finally settles into Gemini in 2026.
I'm kind of excited for Uranus to fully settle into Gemini.
That
It,
should that should be
everything I've
good
read.
for you.
Well, it sounds like it's good for everyone. I hope. I mean, from everything I've read, it's about expansion in those areas of communication and connection,
Which
and really like finding your people and finding your tribe and feeling like, oh yes, I'm at a good place in my life. That's what I've been reading. And they said that with Uranus in Gemini this summer, we should have gotten a little taste of that.
which is perfect for a 1 year.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. New
Wow.
beginnings, new starts, new chapters. Now, later in the month, on November 27th, Saturn will station direct in Pisces, and this is a big one. After its retrograde period, Saturn moving direct means we're now ready to move forward with the lessons learned about boundaries, all that introspection. We should have some more emotional clarity and creative structures. The work you've been doing internally since September will now find its expression in the outer world. So as I was saying before, like you're going to do all that work in the rich soil as you're planting these seeds. Once Saturn stations direct in Pisces on November 27th, you should start to see the first little bud blossom out of all that hard work.
Well, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Mars will continue its journey, and around November 4th, Mars will enter Sagittarius, bringing a boost of expansive and adventurous energy to our actions. And this can inspire traveling and learning and that desire to explore new horizons.
That sounds lovely.
It really does, and well needed. And I always get a kick out of how Sagittarius energy in the holiday season, and it really all wraps in together beautifully.
Yeah, it really does. I hope Mars likes being in Sagittarius, though, because Mars is so gung ho and power heavy and leader, and Sagittarius is so chill and laid back usually.
And maybe it'll bring a mix of structure and spontaneity.
There you go. And finally, we round out the year with December, which is shaping up to be a time for integration, setting intentions for the new year and preparing for the next chapter. On December 4th, we have our last full moon of the year. This moon will shine in the curious and social sign of Gemini, which, as we've said, rules communication, learning, short journeys, siblings, and our immediate environment. This full moon will illuminate your thoughts, ideas, and how you communicate them. So it's a great time for mental clarity, gathering information, and perhaps a flurry of social activity as the holiday season approaches. This moon is called the cold moon, and it aptly describes the deepening chill of winter. But like Gemini, it encourages us to adapt to changing conditions. So you might feel a strong urge to express yourself, share ideas, and connect with others. But with every sign, there's positives and negatives, so be mindful of scattered energy, overthinking, or gossip, and instead focus on clear, authentic communication.
Wow. And then right after that full moon, Mars in Sagittarius will square Saturn in Pisces around December 8th. And this can create tension between our desire for freedom and expansion, with that Mars being in Sagittarius, and our need for structure and emotional understanding with Saturn in Pisces. So you might feel a push-pull between what you want to do and what you feel obligated to do. But patience and careful planning will be the key to navigating that aspect.
And then around December 14th, Mars in Sagittarius also squares Neptune in Pisces. So this can bring a sense of confusion or idealism in our actions. it might be hard to distinguish between what's real and what's a fantasy. Trust your intuition, but also double check the facts before making major moves. It's time to align your actions with your spiritual values.
Oh my goodness. This is quite an exciting few months we have coming
I
up.
think so.
And then a significant astrological event to note for the collective is Jupiter going retrograde in Gemini around December 25th. Jupiter's been in Cancer since October, bringing growth to our emotional and our home lives. And when it retrogrades back into Gemini, it encourages us to review and reconsider our ideas, communication styles, how we communicate with others and connect. This can also be a time to reevaluate our learning paths or social networks.
That sounds appropriate because right after Christmas, but that week between Christmas and New Year's, that is a really good time for that reflection as a year ends and a new one begins.
That's true. Cleaning up the old, getting ready
Yeah,
for the new, the shift from Sagittarius to Capricorn. There's a lot right there.
a lot. And as the year draws to a close with all these planetary shifts, 2025 has truly been a year of profound movement. And with these outer planets dipping their toes into new signs before fully settling in 2026, we've been on the edge of something entirely new. I think everyone's been feeling that, don't you?
I do, yes.
Of this big shift coming. The themes of healing, spirituality, and innovation have been strong, inviting us to step outside the known and create new ways of living.
I think we're all ready for that.
I do too.
Very much so. And I hope people are, there was no doom and gloom in this, but there was also no sugarcoating, which I
Yeah,
think is important. We're just giving you these aspects, how they may or may not integrate in your life, but it's up to you to decide what it means for you.
right. Just a lot of introspection coming our way.
Which is good. It's growth.
Yes, a lot of good growth.
And then, so September is going to be about refinement and letting go with the Virgo energies and eclipses, while Saturn in Pisces urges us to reevaluate our emotional foundations. October invites you to undergo a deep transformation with Scorpio season and Jupiter's move into Cancer, which is fostering emotional healing and a stronger sense of belonging. November's Mercury retrograde prompts us to revise our beliefs in communication, and Saturn direct gives us the green light to move forward with newfound clarity. And then finally, December brings a reflective period with Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, encouraging us to review our ideas and connections as we get ready for 2026.
So throughout these months, the overarching message is one of introspection, integration, and aligning with our truest selves. Don't shy away from the deeper emotional work, as it will pave the way for greater freedom and authenticity in the coming year. Be gentle with yourself during the retrogrades. Use the eclipse energy for powerful new beginnings and necessary endings. And embrace the opportunities for growth that Jupiter will bring to us all.
This matches so beautifully with what people have been going through all year. And it feels like a very incredible way to wind down the year, to put the final touches on things, to release that last stuff, to make peace with whatever we've been trying to work through over this past year.
Yeah, I feel like people are being called to really reflect upon and ask themselves, what do I really want for myself now? I feel like we're always trying to focus on what goals would be good for me in this stage of my life. What goals would help my family? What should I focus on to increase my finances? All that practical stuff. But this makes me feel as though the world energy is colluding to help us all really go within and ask ourselves, apart from anyone else in our lives, what do I want for me? I mean, how many of us have asked ourselves that question?
Exactly. And even if you're in a chapter or a season of your life that you're saying, I don't have time for me, it can be the smallest step, one little baby step. But I think acknowledging that you matter and that you deserve that attention is really, really important right now.
Yeah, it really, really is. So I think it's going to be a good end to this year. I really do.
Right. It is about how you choose to use these opportunities and energies that are presenting.
Yeah. There's a quote I love that says, the greatest decision you'll ever make is to be in a good mood.
Oh, I
And
love that.
I love that too, because there are those times when you can just, like I was saying before, your printer jams, you can't open up the can you need to cook your meal, you get a nail in your tire and you're just like, son of a bitch. But if you just but if you just stop and say, you know what? No, this does not matter. I'm going to be in a good mood. It really does shift everything. It's like that scene from What the Bleep Do We Know?
Mm-hmm.
Oldie but goodie. If young people haven't seen it, go find it on YouTube or wherever it is. It's just great, and it shows this woman waking up and all this bad stuff. How she gets, she breaks open her pantyhose and spills something on her table, and she's just so mad. And it shows the ripple effect of that energy just going out and surrounding her. And then it shows that same thing happening to her, but she decides to just shrug it off. And it shows the ripple energy completely changing and swirling up in a very positive way. It's a cool documentary.
It is. I haven't thought about that in a long time. That was a huge, huge shift for a lot of people because The Secret came out right around the same time, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a very powerful time. I hope we come back to that. I was thinking about that, how we haven't had a big metaphysical movement in a while.
A genuine one.
Yes. Yes, not one about getting the bike or winning the lottery.
No, or likes or this or that, like genuine growth and spiritual development and connection to spirit. I think
And
we're all ready for it.
I think we are, and it sounds as though these astrological shifts could very well be preparing us for that.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed this. Have a wonderful, happy week filled with lots of great planetary alignment and apparently some deep introspection. We wish you wonderful dreams and happy, happy days. Remember, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light.
Take care.